What up, folks? Once again, it's your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. You know, normally I'm that brash, bombastic speaking host that is often criticizing the ride sharing companies, whether you're driving for Uber or Lyft, because I believe at the end of the day, their goal is to pay us like shit and treat us very similar. It is not ever in my pleasure or my purpose to criticize other drivers, particularly those who have social media pages when they're really just trying to help us all. However, today I got to take an exception to something I seen on YouTube on another well-known page where I think the individual, while trying to help us drivers out, kind of misses the mark. And so I want to give my spiel on it. And I welcome any folks who are willing to tell me if I got it wrong or you think I'm spot on. As always, I appreciate the love you guys show in the comment section. This is what we talk about here. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and hopefully we can hash it out in the comment section. So what am I talking about? This is an individual that appeared on the channel of the rideshare guy. Now, this is a veteran driver, 7 years behind the wheel, 28,000 rides plus. So this is a guy with a significant amount of rideshare experience. Being candid, I've been on the road since 2014. However, I only drive off and on between gigs and things like that when they're offering big bonuses. So I don't have 28,000 rides. This individual is more experienced than I am. However, I believe he misses the mark in what he's talking about. So what is he talking about? How to prepare and survive the challenges facing Uber and Lyft drivers in 2023. So in other words, as drivers, we're going to have new challenges coming up, and he's giving advice on how we should prepare for that. Now, he gives 3 different challenges we're going to face, and he gives some solutions. However, in regards to the 3 challenges he gives, I believe he misses the mark on the biggest challenge us drivers are going to face in 2023 that is bigger than anything he states. But let's cover the issues that he is suggesting we're going to face. First of all, he believes COVID will remain a big issue in 2023. As we know, in China, there has been a resurgence of COVID cases. People are dying like crazy over there. And he believes that in America, the pandemic will become an issue again, whether it's leading folks to have to stay at home, work from home, or something of that nature. And that would ultimately lead to less passengers on the road. So COVID is something he believes is an issue. The other issue he has is he believes that America is looking down the barrel of a recession, that we are headed towards a recession, which ultimately will hurt the economy, hurt the jobs market, hurt the earnings of the average individual, and lead to less folks getting in cabs or getting in ride-sharing vehicles. So once again, that would hurt us as drivers. And last but not least, he believes there is an oversaturation of drivers on the road. And as the economy tends to teeter, more folks getting laid off, needing to make extra money, are going to jump behind the wheel of a car and take ride sharing, meaning a bigger oversaturation of drivers. So those are the 3 issues he believes we're facing. Now, he provides solutions. And I'm going to tell you why I think he misses the mark and what's greater than all of that combined. The greatest issue we're likely to face as drivers in 2023. But here are his solutions to those 3 issues he stated. Number 1, he says to just simply continue. Well, this is not number 1, but first of all, he says continue doing your thing as drivers. We've always found ways around shit. So he suggests continue doing your thing out there. So number 1, to avoid oversaturation, drive when it's less busy. Drive when there are less cars on the road. Now, obviously, that could mean driving in the wee hours of the morning. Personally, yours truly, I'm not a fan of driving in the wee hours of the morning. I believe it's far more dangerous. So I don't believe in that. But if that helps avoid oversaturation in your market, that is his number 1 solution. Number 2, try to score more bonuses and, promotions, surges, and things like that. So try to, score more driving hours when the pay is higher. And last but not least, his 3rd solution to tackle what we're facing in 2023 is to make an effort to keep expenses low. Now, I believe he's missing the mark by a significant margin. I believe there's something way worse than the stuff he mentioned. And last but not least, try to score more bonuses, try to keep expenses low. That's not anything special. It doesn't matter if you're driving in 2023 or 2013. You should have been seeking bonuses and keeping expenses low every single damn year you've been on the road. So what the hell do I think is even bigger than all of this shit that is far more encompassing, that will hurt drivers far more in 2023? It's simple. The issue that drivers are facing in 2023 that is going to be the biggest issue by far is the same issue they faced in 2022, 2021, and no matter how far you go back, it's the same damn issue. It is the policies of Uber and Lyft by far. So let's look at what he stated. For instance, he mentioned COVID. Here's an article from 2018 showing that drivers earned 53% less than they did in 2013. In 2018, COVID had not even been invented yet drivers are earning 53% less. That's a significant drop in earnings before COVID was invented. He also mentioned number two being the recession. In 2018, the middle of Trump's presidency, he was bragging that the economy was the best it's been in years. He was bragging about how low unemployment rates were. We were paying $2 for gas. Shit was gravy back then. Yet a 53% drop in earnings. So most of the things he mentioned that we're going to face, we were not dealing with that stuff in 2018, yet we had a 53% drop in earnings. So the last one he stated, oversaturation of drivers. For any of you who've been watching the news lately, you might be aware that there were 4 college students murdered in Moscow, Idaho. And 2 of those students, the last time they were seen was in the vehicle of an Uber driver. Well, when questioned, that Uber driver came forward and stated that in his market, there's only 4 rideshare drivers on the road. That's not an oversaturation. You think he's making a killing out there? Hell no. He's making less than $1 a mile, just like all the rest of us are. The point I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter if there is an oversaturation in your market of drivers or there is barely enough of them to be on the road. Getting paid 70 cents a mile is 70 cents a mile. That ain't shit no matter if you run it all damn day long. It's not much money. And there are plenty of markets in this country that it takes 20 minutes to an hour for a car to even arrive to pick a passenger up. There's no oversaturation in those markets. There's very few cars on the road for the obvious reason. The pay ain't shit. So even without the oversaturation, you're not going to make much money at all. So the point I'm trying to make is that out of the things he mentioned, it is the policies of Uber and Lyft that are going to be far more of a challenge to you as a driver than anything he just mentioned. Because if you take everything he just mentioned away, your salary will still continue to drop. The problem is this. The goal of Uber and Lyft from day one has been to pay your ass as low as they possibly can and try to keep you on the road. That's the goal from day one. Try to pay drivers as little as they can and see if they'll stay on the road. And they have constantly shown proof of that by continuing to tweak the salary. Shit like Uber Pool, for instance. Now I'm not just dealing with one cheap ass, no tipping passenger. You found a way to squeeze 2 of them folks into my shit. That does not benefit the driver at all. That reduces your salary because now all of a sudden, instead of you picking up one, doing a whole trip and picking up another one, they're sharing the shit. That's something that is a policy of Uber and Lyft. Now, Uber and Lyft, as chances are, they're splitting those damn checks up. But they're making you do 2 trips and you're not getting paid twice as much. That is a policy of Uber and Lyft. Attempting to force you to do unprofitable shit is another policy of Uber and Lyft. How many times have you got a trip where you could see from what they were offering, this is not profitable? I got to drive 10 miles to pick up somebody that's only going 2. And if I try to reject the trip, decline the trip, they're threatening to remove me from the app, trying to force me to do unprofitable shit. That's far worse than everything that man just mentioned. So in regards to everything he mentioned, you can follow all the strategies he provided. But at the end of the day, if the car company you're driving for, their goal is to undercut your salary, undercut your profits, make your driving experience less lucrative, none of that shit will work. Chasing bonuses, surges, and things like that is useless if the goal is to remove that shit from your grasp to begin with. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. And when he say try to minimize expenses, well, if they're paying you 81 cents a mile today, and all of a sudden they pay you 79 cents tomorrow, which they have done in every market over and over and over again for the last decade, your expenses just went up. So no matter what move you make, it's like a chess game playing against a fucking computer. They're countering all your moves. You cannot beat a chess game that is operated by a computer. This is what we're dealing with. Is a company, or better yet companies, because Uber and Lyft is in on the fix, they're countering all our moves. So no matter how we have become more and more savvy over the years in finding ways to drive in an environment that is becoming less and less profitable, they continue to counter ways you find to make money despite what they're doing with new ways to continue to make you make less. I got a notice the other day, you don't drive towards the trips. Well, I'm trying to avoid this shit because I don't want to go drive to something that's unprofitable. Why did I do that? Because you told me I could not cancel it. So they know what you're doing and they're countering it with other ways to try to make you do shit that's unprofitable. Now, I tried to offer some solutions to this. So I want you to listen to, in my opinion, some of the only things that really might work, which I do agree with he stated. I only believe in driving when it's surges, street bonuses, earnings guarantees, things like that. If you're driving for base fare, anywhere between 70 cents a mile, or better yet, 59 cents a mile, to about 90 cents a mile, that's where majority of ride-sharing markets pay. In base fare, 59 to about 90 cents a mile. Nothing's going to work at that rate. If you're driving for those base fares, you're not making shit. There's just no money in that. So I do highly encourage folks to try to drive when there's some type of surge, bonus, streak, or some shit like that. But other than that, I do believe it's important for you to know your market. You need to, for the most part, drive no further than your average trips. I made a video about this. Do not drive further than your average trips. If your average trip, like in my market, my average trips are 5 miles or less. Most of the passengers are getting into my car and getting out in 5 miles or less. Therefore, I do not drive more than 5 miles to pick any damn body up. It makes no sense to drive 10 or 15 miles to pick up somebody that's going 2. Know your market. Know how far those trips away. Know where the person is likely going. Do not drive more than the average trip you receive. Next, which I think is significantly important, because Uber and Lyft is always trying to get you to do just the opposite. Meaning, only do what is profitable for you. Just like I mentioned, do not drive further than your average trips. Do not take shit that you know from the beginning is not profitable. You can look at certain trips they offer you and tell there's no profit in this. Do not take trips that are not profitable, such as, I often say, driving outside of your area. Taking somebody 30 miles for $15 damn and then having to drive 30 miles back empty. So that means you drove 30 miles to drop somebody off, and then you had to drive all the way back empty, total of 60 miles for 15 or 20 bucks. Don't do that shit. That's pretty much predictable up front. You know if you got to drive 30, 40 miles or more, it's not going to be profitable. The longer the trip, the more you're getting ripped off in this market. Unless you're getting a huge surge or something on that. You know, if you get a 30-mile trip and it's under a 5-10 time surge, then yeah, go ahead and do that. But at base fare, avoid those long-ass trips. They are highly unprofitable. For you, Uber and Lyft is making a killing off of that shit. But for you, and last but not least, I say this often, some folks out here, I get it. You like this shit. You like the flexibility of it. A lot of folks want to do this more than anything else. But I strongly advise against using rideshare as a full-time primary source of income. I am totally against that. As even Uber and Lyft refers to it as, it is a side hustle that you should view as a temporary source of income with something else as your primary source so that you can jump ship on this stuff before it sinks. So understand that if you're doing this 8-10 hours a day, chances are you're doing a hell of a lot of those hours under base fare. You're not making shit. So there's nothing I can say but give you the advice. I understand some of you folks out there are in a situation where this is all you got. I get it. But you need to make every attempt you can to find something else. Do not do this 8 hours a damn day every day in areas where you're driving for base fare. If you're driving in an area that has surge pricing all day, which I don't think there's an area that exists like that, that's fine. But every trip you take at base fare, you're not making shit. You're just not. Even the IRS now allows us to take a 65% deduction for every mile we drive. If the IRS thinks it takes you 65 cents in expenses to drive a car and you're only making 75 or 80 cents a mile, you're making less than 20 cents per mile in profit. That should tell you every damn thing you need to know. But let me know, am I missing the mark? Let me know what you believe is our biggest hurdles, what we're facing most in 2023. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it spot on? Leave a comment. As always, I respond to any and all comments. I appreciate the love you show in the comment section. Subscribe to the damn channel. You know I say that in every video. It's your boy Tim. I'll catch you in the next one.